Okay, welcome again to our presentation today on business integrated governance, our quick overview. Why, what, and how you can improve strategy delivery using fit for purpose integrated governance. That's just the placeholder slide for the recording. So our first topic then, the challenges of strategy delivery, a strategy perspective. Well, many of us work in all kinds of organizations, whether they're not-for-profit organizations, they're government departments, or commercial entities. All of our organizations have a purpose, a business purpose, and we cascade our purpose through departments who help us function, and maybe even cascade those purposes into projects when we expect them to make changes. We need to make that drive. We need to align the strategies that each of those areas has. We need our business strategy to align with our various department strategies and our project strategies to support that. And we need the measures in place so we can track progress and ensure that our performance is improving. All this is aimed at maximizing value. But this is a complex scenario. I've just drawn a little picture here from one business purpose to one department to one project. Clearly, it's a lot more complex than that. So how do we get from purpose to strategy and then through to delivery easily and simply? It's not easy, is it? And well, how not easy is it? I'm not going to leave this slide up for long, but it's not very easy, evidentially. We've dug out a few references here. I'm not going to read them all, but it's very easy to find examples of where strategy delivery just isn't functioning. I'll just pick one out here. 50% of well-formulated strategies fail to deliver expected results because of poor execution. This is a well-reputed issue, and in our own smaller events, we get all kinds of people coming along that suggest that strategy delivery is not easy. So I don't know if that's the case with everyone here, but let's leave that out there. Many strategies fail to add value. So, which challenges? What are the challenges people face? Well, there are many. We've in our work identified some categories that we can tease out. We talk about clarity of strategy. Is the strategy clear? Is it a good strategy? Is it clear what the connection of purpose to objectives? Are we communicating it? Are we getting it out there? Is that process of cascading and then gathering feedback? Is it working? Are we delegating? Are we getting people to take accountability, to establish accountability and accept it and work to it? Are we in control? Are we able to progress strategy? Are we able to track performance? This isn't all that straightforward. Are we enabling people? For the people we want to hold to account, are we delegating them leadership time, funds, and resources to give them a chance of fulfilling their accountability? Are we agile enough? Can we change direction when we need to? Can we respond to opportunity or threat fast enough and not without damaging everything else? And can we hold all this together? Lots of challenges in here, lots of thoughts, but unless we can solve these things, I guess we're going to have problems. David, where to start? Everybody, if you'd like to comment on what David's talking about or your view of strategy delivery effectiveness, please use Slido to comment. But David, where do we start? How do you what?
That's a very good question, David, and hello everybody. I think your previous couple of slides demonstrate some of the different perspectives and things where things can go wrong, and I think there's sort of 5 points, if you like, that bring to mind about how organizations approach strategy. The first one is context and the context of it. So on your a couple of slides ago, you had that indication of how do you tie in from a organization purpose down through departmental strategies, etc., and how do you all tie it together? Well, the context of where you're looking at is important to bear in mind, and how do you get an integrated approach across those various levels within an organization? So it's the different levels that are important because people have different perspectives. It's understanding that. The other analogy I'd use in terms of how organizations often approach strategy is it's a bit like an iceberg. There's a lot of focus at the top of the iceberg on this formulating the strategy, the exciting bit, the developing a strategic plan, a document, if you like, that acts as a template going forward. And yet, so much effort and so much focus goes into that in terms of organizational strategizing to achieve that. And yet the other bit that's so important is the bit that's beneath the iceberg, beneath the surface, which is the strategic organizing of the organization, if you like, the planning of it, the setting things up so it becomes a very integrated whole. And that's where so much work needs to be done into how an organization continually looks at the translation of that strategy into its day-to-day activities and actions and its management actions. And that's the bit that is so often left unexplored. Examples, I've seen situations in organizations where the energy that has gone in at senior management level to developing a strategic plan is so intense, it's developed, and there's an initial phase of enthusiasm for how that gets translated into the key projects and mechanisms. Roll forward 6-9 months later, and you're looking at a board looking at levels of detail in red, amber, green, project charts, etc., losing sight of the whole purpose and the strategy and the drift that occurs in the energy. So there is, if you like, that iceberg approach. It is not just about the strategizing. It is not just about the strategic plan. It's about how that, if you like, cascades is embedded within the organization. The third key thing about it as well to mention is that strategy and managing strategy is dynamic. It's not sequential. So a lot of the, if you like, traditional approach to strategic planning, you would invest in developing an organizational strategy, get the board level commitment to it, cascade it down, etc. And it will become very sequential as to how then that is implemented and forced through. And there isn't a mechanism in there within the organization. It hasn't developed. How do you adjust? Where's the signals come in? How do you manage this dynamically? How do you get the feedback? Where's the real flow of information and communication? And that, I think, is the next point as well, that communication is absolutely essential. It's that communication and engagement so that the strategy is lived in the organization. It's not tablets of stone. It's a continual story that's being reviewed. It's a journey as an organization progresses, that is there to be adapted, reviewed, perhaps radically looked at, if there are threats that come from outside or opportunities that exist, etc., or things that are going wrong. It's that dynamic approach to strategy and the continual conversation and management of that and engagement of people that is so key to getting that real approach to strategy that makes it come alive in an organization rather than just printed on a strategic plan document.
David, what I'm taking out of that are three words that if there's the need for our leadership to give us that energy that inspires and lights the organization to engage with it. Energy was one, dynamic is the other. It's going to change. Be prepared for it. And the third word phrase I've had is lived in. That you need to live the strategy. It's not. It's unless it's part of your culture and innate to everything you do. It's harder to make it happen. Would did I pluck those three good words from what
Yes,
you just said?
they're very valid points. And looking at the Slido comments as well, um, about the integrated approach and the importance of an integrated approach. So the comment is that strategy often competes with ongoing day-to-day business. To me, an organizational strategy encompasses both. It isn't about the change project. It isn't about that. It is about a holistic approach to strategy looks at the organization as a whole. It doesn't look as simply at what are the exciting change projects or what needs to happen. It's an integrated approach to it. And in many ways, that is the, that's the importance of an attitude towards strategy in the organization. Is it seen as being something that is sorted, is dealt with by senior management, executive level, by a strategy department, etc.? Or is it seen, is there a humility in the leadership that says it's not, we don't necessarily have this right. We have opportunities to improve. We can work at developing the strategic capabilities within the organization to get stronger at doing strategy, to make things more integrated, make a more continual approach, to be open to the challenges and the threats of the future, to have that really dynamic approach in those conversations on an ongoing basis. How much can we embed that in the organization? How can we approach that with, if you like, the openness to take that on board and to want to improve, rather than we have set the strategy, you are there to implement it. We are on a course, sequential course, and until that's done, we're not going to consider anything else. We're pushing people through. Very different approaches. And if you like, another important point to make is that every organization is different. Every organization has its own culture, if you like, its own way of doing things, its own particular context and situation. So it's not as though you can sort of impose or bring, this is the way in which you do strategy, or this is the way you integrate it. It's about helping those organizations to work out what is going to work for them to improve how they do strategy, how they work, how they deliver it, how they think through the implementation. And it's that process, if you like, is very much an ongoing process, which requires, use the word humility, that desire to learn, that importance of learning as you go through, that openness to embrace, to improve, and to put in place and to work at putting in place the things that help the communication, the data, the information flow, that help people to understand the strategy throughout the organization. So a bit of philosophy there, if you like, in terms of approach, but to me, it's so important in terms of how organizations embrace strategy and take it forward.
So maybe one of the enablers to embrace strategy and to take it forwards is to think about how the management of strategy, as far as it can be managed, will be operated, and the decision-making framework within which that sits, which segues us nicely on to the next section, David. I think. So thanks for that. We'll if anyone's got any more comments and questions, please keep them coming. But